We can start. Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, Katha Upanishad Prathama adHyAya vallI Tritya, third vallI today. It goes by Rutam Pibanto Sukrutasya Loke Gruhan Pravishto Parame Parardhe Chaya Tapo Brahmavedo Vadanti Panchagnayo Yecha Trinachiketaha. Literal meaning is, they drink the nectar of their good works. Those two who live in the remotest corner of the cave of the Supreme. The knowers of Brahman call those two shadow and light, as do those who have performed the 5 fire rite and the Nachiketa rite 3 times. Now, again, some cryptic words. Cryptic in the sense, there is some procedure given here, and that procedure, how it unfolds, that is also important. So the Rishi is talking about Rutam Pibanto Sukrutasya Loke. They drink the nectar of their good works. So nectar, Amruta. So we always talk about immortality, and immortality by drinking Amruta. Now what is this Amruta? Is this some drink, some Vedic potion that we have to consume, or maybe somras? We don't know. But here clearly it's talking about good works, Sukruta. So when we do good work, good deeds, that creates Satvikta, the Satvik work, Satvika Guna in us. And that Guna or that effect of Satvika work is like Amrut. And that is Amrut, which makes us immortal. Immortal does not mean only in this body. It could also mean, let's say we talk about Rama and Krishna. So Sri Rama, is he immortal in his body? No. But he is immortal because we still remember him because of whatever he did. Whatever he did still affects our daily lives. That means he did something which affected all of us even to date. So his good deed, his good work is like Amruta, and that made him immortal. Similarly, any good person, good Rishis, all the Saptarshis did good work, good deed, and that's why we still remember them. Are they living in physical body? We don't know. Many claim yes, many claim, we haven't seen them. So, do they exist in their physical body? Cannot be said or can be said. But at least one thing is sure, they live in our memories as Saptarshi. We know their names, we know their work. That means they imbibed Amruta of good deed and they became immortal. Now, it talks about those two who, the first one is, who live in the remotest corner of the cave of the Supreme. So, in our Guhya Pradesh, Hridaya, Atma resides. That Atma which knows about Paramatma, which is the remotest meaning the farthest. Even if it is closest in our heart, we still don't know Paramatma or even Atma. That means for us it's the remotest, farthest, and we know it. So once we know it, that becomes like Amruta. We become immortal. And second is, the knowers of Brahman call those two shadow and light. Now shadow and light, what is shadow and light? Chaya and Tapo. So Chaya is like Maya, Avran, the cover that covers Atma. So once Atma is covered with Maya, it is Jiva. Now that Jiva is kind of one step above or one step further from Atma. The second is light, Tejas or Tapa. So who resides or who knows Chaya and Tapa, who knows shadow and light, meaning who is Jiva, who is Atma, that also becomes immortal, that also gets the Amruta. Now there are some rituals, some methods mentioned, which 5 fire rites and 3 Nachiketa rites. So Panchagni, what is Panchagni? There are multiple meanings here. We know Trikada Sandhya, right? Trikada Sandhya 3 times we do daily, we do that. Now we miss 2 times, which are night times, because we are not yogi. We have to sleep, right? We need to find time to sleep. So we always talk about Trikada Sandhya. That is good for people like us who live in, who have family, who lives in this world without penance or without living anything. So we have Trikada Sandhya. 3 times we pray to Agni, or via Agni. I think we talked about that last time, that it's a second stage, right? Second stage of our evolution, the spiritual evolution. So Agni provides that opportunity to go in that direction. So we do it 3 times. Usually we do it at least 1 time in the morning. Some people do it 2 times. I mean, in old times we used to do 2 times. Many have forgotten that. So morning, evening, and there is one more time, which is the midday. We don't have time. We all work, so we don't find time to do that. But if we get opportunity like Saturday or Sunday or any off days, or if we work from home, then we have opportunity to do midday puja also. So it is important when Abhijit Nakshatra, it is said that midday, meaning when the sun is above our head, 20 minutes before that, 20 minutes after that. So there is a window of 40 minutes. So every day during that 40 minutes, if we again do the puja by lighting diya or lamp, that is also very important, and it is part of the Trikada Sandhya. What are other 2 Sandhyas? We always talk about Brahma Muhurta, right? We must wake up and do our cleansing and cleaning up. That is also one of the Sandhyas. Many people still today do that. If we are willful, if we put some effort, we can also do Brahma Muhurt Puja. And there is one more, which is done similarly, what we did or what we talked about, midday puja. There is midnight puja. So midnight, when sun is said to be at the bottomest part, meaning exactly at midnight, not 12 o'clock. I'm talking about midnight, meaning let's say if sun sets at 6 o'clock and rises at 6 in the morning, then yes, 12 p.m. is not 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 12 in the night is the midnight. But depending upon where we live, our midnight might vary slightly. It could be 12:20 at night, it could be 1 a.m. in the night. So during that time, if we wake up and do puja, like light diya and do whatever, dhyana. Dhyana is the basic, most easiest thing to do. So if we do all these 5 Agni, Panchagni every day, then it's a sure shot, quick way to Atma Sakshatkar, is what being told here. And 3 Nachiketa Vidya. I mean, we, from the past vallis, Nachiketa Vidya is nothing but following Ashtanga Yoga and doing dhyana in Atma, in our Hridaya Guhya. So that dhyana also 3 times. Nachiketa right 3 times. So usually what, if we look at Purana, especially Srimad Bhagavat, in Srimad Bhagavat, Sri Krishna's dinacharya, what he used to do after waking up, when he used to wake up, after waking up, what he used to do, how he used to follow his daily rituals. Everything is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavat. So according to that, doing dhyana in the Brahma Muhurt is very beneficial. Second time is during midday when Abhijit Nakshatra, 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after midday. Not 12 pm, but as I say, depending upon sunrise and sunset, the midday and midnight might vary. So do dhyana at that time. See, doing dhyana does not mean spend 1 hour doing all this. We have to spend just 5 minutes. That's good enough. And then depending upon our experience, depending upon our sadhana, we'll step by step go further in that. So Brahma Muhurt Dhyan, Abhijit Nakshatra midday Dhyan, and third is midnight Dhyan. Now this is sure shot to move away from family life. It's a disaster for family life, because if we do dhyana at midnight, you are on the path of becoming sannyasi. Eventually you will not be interested in any worldly things. So if you are ready for this Atma Sakshatkar, then do Nachiketa writes 3 times, Brahma Muhurta, midday, midnight. So dhyana 3 times, and Panchagni in the Ushakar morning, midday, evening Ushakar, Sandhyakar, and midnight, and Brahma Muhurt, yes. So 5 times, light, diya, lamp, dhyana 3 times. But you must be ready that now you are on different path. So tell your wife or husband, be ready.
That was with Agni. 5 times is with Agni.
With Agni, right. So we have to light diya and do whatever next. So that next could be doing regular puja. Adi Shankaracharya mentioned Panchayatan puja, right? We may or may not be doing. Says we like Shakti or Shiva or Krishna or Rama or Ganapati. So, or any other deity that we like, or Hanumana or Venkateshwara. I mean, whichever deity we like. So we might be putting that form in front of us, doing puja every day to that form only. But we are forgetting the rest 4. So Adi Shankaracharya mentioned even Puranas, Padma Puran, Devi Bhagavat, Skanda Puran, many more. So all these Puranas say every Sanatani must do Panchayatan puja. Even if somebody likes one particular form, good. But you have to have the rest 4 forms also. So which are they? Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Ganesh, and Surya. Nobody thinks about Surya anymore. I mean, we might be looking at Surya giving arghya, but we do not have a Surya Murti in our puja, or we do not pray. So, but Panchayatan puja includes Surya Narayan also. So, Vishnu, Narayan himself, Shiva, Shakti, Ganesh, and Surya. So, in any form meaning Krishna and Rama are Vishnu, right? Venkateshwara, Vishnu. Mahadev. So, any form of Mahadev, even Hanuman is considered Mahadev. Ganapati, Durga, Kali, Tripura Sundari, whichever form of goddess, Shakti. Any form of Surya Narayan. There are 12 Adityas, but usually we have Surya Murti with 7 Ashwas, 7 horses, and Aruna, charioteer. So we must do Panchayatan puja, is what Adi Shankaracharya has mentioned, and even many Puranas mentioned, which unfortunately we forgot. And there is a geometry behind it. Say our main deity is Shakti, then how we should place the rest 4? If our main deity is Shiva, then how the rest 4 should be placed? So there is whole geometry behind it, and that is mentioned in Puranas. So 5 times light diya and do this puja. And you can follow any steps from Ashtanga Yoga. Usually, if you want to do dhyana, then it is better to do some form of asana, some form of pranayama, some form of pratyahara. And dharana, of course, then we can do dhyana. So at least asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana and dhyan, 5 angas we can do together in very quick time, maximum 10 minutes. So spend 5 minutes doing asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana and dhyan, they are done together. So next 5 minutes. So within 10 minutes we can be done. So that has to be done 3 times along with Panchagni, puja and other rituals.
Pratyahara is concentration.
Not concentration. So pratyahara is our senses, right? Organ senses. So 5 sensory senses and 5, organ senses and 5 knowledge senses. So all these senses, they are outward. We see. So we see outward. We hear something outward. We touch something outward. But move them in inward direction. So very easy step to do that is sit in a comfortable position. Then you breathe in. With first breath, do dharana. Guess that light is going into your left limb, reaching to the toe of left foot while breathing in. Breathing out, take that light back into your spinal cord. Don't take it out. When you take breath in, that light comes in, goes into the left direction up to the toe. Bring it back while breathing out, but store it in your spinal cord, that light. Next breath, your right limb, right toe, going back again, put it into spinal cord. Then left hand, breathing in, left hand, go back and store it in spinal cord. Right hand, breathe in that light, going back, store in the spinal cord. Then the fifth, while breathing in, your torso. So light is spreading. While breathing out, light is consumed in spinal cord. So this is pratyahara. Very easy way to do it.
Light is even though you stored it in the previous step,
Right.
Every time the light is coming from outside.
Yes, because that is prana. Prana is taken in.
depositing.
Yes, we are collecting that prana. But this is a very easy method to bring senses inward. Our senses are outward always. But to change their direction, this is very easy method. So this is pratyahara.
Dharana is focusing on one.
No, dharana is guess. So you are guessing there is light within you in your rib cage area, right? Imagine that light, very bright light, and then you focus. That is dhyan. And then you slowly move into the real dhyan. So it will take. If you consistently do this, if you are disciplined, spend at least 5 minutes, and that will take you to different experiences.
And for Shakti is apart from Durga or Kali, Saraswati or
Any form. It's one in the same. Even physics says, right, energy cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be created, it can only be converted. So it's the same Shakti. It can change the form, but it's ultimately Adi Shakti.
because you mentioned it's 5 distinct ones.
5 distinct ones, yes.
So that means that for Shakti also there are distinct representations of Shakti.
Yes. So let's say when I say Vishnu, you can take Chaturbhuja Vishnu, you can take Krishna, Rama, Parshurama, Varaha, Nrsimha, any form of Vishnu, or even Shaligram. So it's just the representation. The key is you have to have all 5 representatives in Panchayatan Puja. Right. Next shloka. यह सेतुरी जानाना मक्षरम ब्रह्म यत्परम अभयम तिथि शर्ताम पारम नाचिकेतम शकेमहि. That bridge of sacrifices through which one fearlessly crosses over to the indestructible Supreme Brahman, that is the Supreme Nachiketa right. Now, Nachiketa right, we talked about dhyana, but ultimately that dhyana leads us to samadhi. What is samadhi? It's ekakar or sayujya of Atma with Paramatma. Atma is Ansha of Paramatma. But when that Ansha is kind of imbibed into that ocean of Paramatma, that is Samadhi, and that is Supreme Nachiketa right. Because Nachiketa right is doing dhyana in our Guhya, but ultimately that will lead us to this Samadhi, state of Samadhi, this Sakshatkar of Paramatma, and that is Supreme Nachiketa right. And that is our ultimate goal. And that is Akshara Brahma. That's what, the word is used here. If you look at Bhagavad Gita, adHyaya 8, Akshara Brahma Yoga, and I think 15, Purushottama Yoga. It talks about Kshara, Akshara, and something beyond both of those. So Brahma is everywhere, right? Brahma is everywhere. And there are two types of adhibhuta in this world. One destructible, Kshara, and the other Akshara, indestructible. But these are all Brahma, expression of Brahma. Brahma is everywhere. So it has to be in even Kshara Brahma. In Kshara, which like Panch Mahabhuta, like Prithvi, soil, that can be destroyed. It takes energy form or something else. That means it can be destroyed in its form. So that is Kshara. It is also Brahma. Akshara, energy. Energy can only be converted into different form. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. So that is Akshara Brahma. So that's what here they are talking about. Indestructible Supreme Brahma. And there is something beyond both, and that is Purushottama. According to Gita, adHyaya 15, Purushottama Yoga, Krishna is above Kshara and Akshara, which is Purushottama. Atmanam rathitam viddhi shariram rathamevatu buddhim tu sarathim viddhi manah pragrahamevacha. Know the self as the lord of the chariot and the body as the chariot. Know the intellect as the charioteer and the mind indeed as the reins. So I think this metaphor is also found in Bhagavad Gita. What this shloka is talking about? The Atma is the Lord, God. Atma is God of this chariot. And what is the chariot? Our body. Body is the chariot. And Atma is God of that chariot. And intellect, Buddhi. Buddhi is the charioteer, Sarthi. Sarthi which leads us to that ultimate goal. And Mana is the ruler. Mana rules, or in Bhagavad Gita it is said as Lagama, the restraint which controls the motion. So Mana is that. Buddhi is charioteer. Atma is the God, and body is the chariot. So these are just metaphors.
So Buddhi here is intelligence, and the Mana is mind?
Yes, Mana is mind. So when Mana, see, all these thoughts, all these processes arise in Mana. Now that Mana, when it uses a dissective analysis, when it tries to dissect certain things, or I would say when it deliberately puts thoughts into action, that becomes intellect. See, everybody has mind, but our intellect might be different, because how we use our mind, that becomes our intelligence. And that's why we say that IQ, right? Different IQs. So we have a lot of information. We gather everything from around the world. But unless and until we use that into some action, it is not intellect. It is just the knowledge. It is stored in our mind. At right time, at right moment, with right decision, when it comes out, that becomes buddhi, intellect. And there is emotional quotient. People talk about EQ nowadays. So that EQ is kind of your intellect that is in action. So if we are very driven by emotions, bhava, emotion is bhava. If our mind is directed by bhava, then we cannot use our intelligence rightly. If we can control our bhava, our thought process, our prerna, that bhava is prerna of Atma. If we can control it, then our intellect is put into constructive actions. And that's why it is very important. इंद्रियाणि हयन हुविर्षयां स्तेषु गोचरान् आत्मेन्द्रिय मनोयुक्तं भोक्तेत्या हुमनिर्षिणः. They say the senses are like horses and the objects are their pasture. The unity of the self, the senses and the mind is called the enjoyer by the wise. Again, that metaphor continues. Who are the horses of that chariot? All the senses, 10 senses. And what horses do? They want to graze, they want to run. And what is that pasture? All the objects we see around us. Because senses, the indriyas, need their padartha, bhog, right? It needs that. And that is its pasture. And when self, the Atma, which is the God, the senses, horses, and the mind, the lagama, the restraint, when they are in tune, then that is called the enjoyer by the wise, bhokta. So that bhokta is, see, we say that Atma is bhokta, but how is it possible? Because Atma is free from anything. Atma is not maligned by any worldly activities. The Triguni Maya, that is not for Atma. Atma is free from all. So who is Bhokta? That Bhokta is when Atma is with the senses and with the mind. Then it becomes Bhokta. So with senses, it gets the Grahya Padarth, Bhog. And that mind takes it and mind processes it. And that becomes Bhokta in that sense. Because let's take an example, even modern science, right? What they say, how do we see some object? Our eyes, when it is wide open, the light from that object reflects, focuses through our eye lenses into a patal, a screen in our mind, not mind, in the eyes. And there are Gnan Tantu, like nervous system, right, that takes it, those pictures, and sends somewhere in the brain. So whatever that place, even they could identify. And then it is being processed. That is mind. Mind is processing it. So when we see all the objects, they are upside down. Because when they pass through lens, I mean, this is what optics teach us, right? When we put a lens between an object and the screen, the object is upside down on the screen. So when we see somebody, when we see something, in our screen of the eyes, it is upside down. But when it reaches mind, mind knows how to decipher it. So it makes it again upside down. So we see something at its original form. So who is the bhukta here? When senses are joined with the mind and Atma. Atma has this knowledge. Here Atma is just the observer. We say mind is the observer. Mind sees all these pictures, all these scenes. But ultimately, who is the observer? It's the Atma. So when all these four are bound together, they become bhukta. So without anyone, in absence of anyone, there is no bhukta. So the whole science of spirituality is to become a bhukta from bhukta. So what they say is, we cannot kill our senses, we cannot destroy our senses, because we'll be like trees. Like, what are we going to do? Mind, we cannot kill our mind, otherwise we'll be insane, lunatic. Then what can we do? We just detach our Atma from all this. Let's have the notion of observer. Now who is observing? Atma. But if we do it in Jagrata state, Jagrata Avastha, so that is like creating a distance between senses, mind and Atma. Then we become a bhukta. And then whatever mind does will not affect, will not bind us into karma. So
bhokta is
experiencer, but not Atma alone. Atma with mind and senses. That whole unity becomes bhukta. Yastva vijnana van bhavatya yuktena manasa sada tasyendriyanya vashyani dushtashva eva sarathehi. He who has no discrimination and whose mind is always uncontrolled, his senses are like wicked, untamed horses of a charioteer. Now, what happens when somebody has a mind that is not controlled? We have seen many examples, right? We always see people around us. Many a times we wonder whether is this really a human being? Because the way they act, the way they say things, the way they interact with us, it's like Pashu. So we wonder whether it's really a human. Have they learned being human? It's all because their mind is uncontrolled. It's like untamed animal. When we see a dog, until and unless the dog is domesticated, the dog cannot be trusted, right? The mind is like that. It's like Shwan. Unless and until it is domesticated, it can venture anywhere, cannot be trusted.
So, in the previous one, I always am a little bit confused so far. What does Atma do? What does it mean? It is supposed to be, in some places they say it's inert, it's just, it's obscure, it's inside, but we do everything.
Right.
And we accumulate the karma. It doesn't attach to the Atma. But then when we are reincarnated, Atma and the karma baggage are what happens.
Right. Translate.
So here when they were saying Atma with the mind and the senses together is one book.
Right.
If Atma is not the one who is controlling the senses consciously.
Right.
So what does the Atma truly do in life? How does it control? It doesn't control our actions.
Right. So the answer is, when we look at sun, okay, first the question is, there are many things about Atma, right? Is it observer? Is it inert? How does it carry this karma across births? How it is involved in all these actions? So that's the question, right? When we look at sun, what sun does? Nothing. whatever its guna. What is guna of Surya? It is very hot, and because of its hotness, the light is created, and that light reaches us, and that light carries some energy. But is it done by Surya? No. Willingly? Not at all. Unwillingly? Yes. So it is the guna of Surya that makes it hot, that makes it source of energy for us, that makes it with the light. Similarly, Atma is covered with Maya. Trigunatmika Maya. The answer is in Bhagavad Gita and other Upanishad, or even maybe here. So the Atma, when it is covered with that Hiranmayana Patrena, right? Hiranmayana meaning that light. When it is covered with that bright light, and that bright light is Maya. When it is covered with this Maya, that is called Jiva, and that Jiva does all the actions depending upon the cover, the sheath it has gathered. So let's look at ocean. Ocean, it has gigantic water body, and it creates waves. Who creates waves? Gravitational force, wind, and some other factors that creates waves. Does ocean create that? No. Does it make ocean evolve into this action? Yes, but is ocean involved in these actions? No. Ocean is just there. It is just, consider that as an observer. We are watching a film. Ocean is observing. And all the patterns, the waves are created by Maya, which is Pavan, the air, wind, and gravitational force. And it creates various types of form, the waves. It can also create tsunami, it can create tide, and it can create ebb. So various actions. Now, does it make any difference to ocean? Not at all. Ocean is just an observer, like film. Our Atma is observing a cinema, a movie. Whatever is happening on the screen, that screen is Maya. Who created that? Some other Maya. Somebody else's Maya created that movie. Somebody else's Maya created that screen. And we are observing. Are we involved in that action? Yes, our mind, right? Our mind is involved in watching that movie. So it creates emotions, it creates actions, might create action in us. Does it make us part of that movie? Not at all. We are not part of the movie. We are just observing. We are just watching that movie.
Yeah, Atma is observing, but the mind is
Mind,
is doing. Like if you do a good deed or a bad deed, the
but
mind does it.
mind does it, but who gives that prerna, that motivation to mind? That is Maya.
That is Maya.
Maya. And Maya is everywhere, right?
Not Atma, Maya.
Maya. So Maya is the cover, is the sheath that covers Atma. So Atma does not know the true form. Atma does not know that it is just an observer. Atma thinks, oh, that action, it is involved in the movie. But no, Atma is just the observer. The movie might create some emotion in us. It's a very intense moment, right? So an observer might cry, observer might laugh, observer might do some action, dance or something. But observer is not part of the movie. It's the Maya, the screen. And somebody else created that Maya.
So how do we evolve through our actions then, in the sense if who controls the actions fully?
It's a very big question. Who controls the action? Well, it is said, some of the answers in Puranas, right? When, or even adHyAya Upanishad, which talks about the creation. We need to go back to creation. There was nothing in the beginning. That nothing thought of something, and that thought created this world. So that thought is Maya, is what is said in the creation or Genesis. So we cannot know. Why? Because Sri Krishna says so in Bhagavad Gita. Mama Maya adHyAya. Krishna says that nobody can cross my Maya. It's impossible. Nobody can know. So what can we do? Just surrender. Because whoever tries to find the real nature of Maya will be lost.
So that's the nature of Maya, but then for us, I want to evolve. I want to do some action.
Right.
That I is what? Like it's not the Atma because it is just sitting there. It's
Correct.
not controlling it.
Correct.
But
So
it's
your
the
cover, right? Your cover is made up of three gunatmik Maya. Say if you are sattvic, I mean we are mixture of all three. But if we have more sattva gun, if we are more sattvic, that's why we are thinking about it, that let's do good action. If somebody is very rajasic in nature, meaning that person has more rajogun, then might be indulging into all materialistic world. Hey, enjoy some vacations, let's go there, watch movie, let's earn this much money, let's have that car, all that. And they don't think beyond it. Somebody who is very much tamasic might always be thinking of, hey, let me steal that, let me kill somebody, let me hit somebody. So it's all governed, our actions are governed by the Maya. The sheath. And depending upon the type of sheath, we are all mixture of all three. But the combination is going to be different in all of us.
And that will carry over?
That will carry over.
The sheath will
Carry over. But how? Very deep question. And nobody knows. I have some answer. Maybe we can discuss next time. I haven't experienced that yet, but I have kind of some assumption in that direction, depending upon my experience, that this is what is happening. So we can talk about that.
So sheath and karma carry over.
Sheath is the storage of the karma. So that sheath, where it is stored, how it carries over, I mean that's the question. So Atma, when it is in that sheath, it thinks, oh, I am that sheath. Atma forgets the true nature. But can Atma forget? Then the question arises. Atma is free from all. Atma is Ansho Paramatma. How can it forget? That is also illusion, that it forgot. So we must destroy all these illusions. That jiva, that sheath, we must get rid of that sheath. That's our goal. Whatever penance, whatever sadhana we do, ultimately we want to break that sheath so that Atma does not have any bondage. But Mama Bara Maya adHyAya is what Krishna says. You cannot break it. So how to break it?
You have to just realize it.
How to realize it? Because you will be entangled. It's very complex. Even Jad Bharata could not do that, right? Even many greats couldn't do that. So what can we do? And the answer is Gnan, Karma, Kriya, Bhakti. Our Sanatana Dharma has also evolved over the years, right? So they say when all these four, Gnan, Karma, Kriya and Bhakti, they are together, then we are on path to removing that sheath, that cover. Now what is Gnan? So whatever we are doing here, right, Upanishad, that provides us Brahma Vidya. That Brahma Vidya is Gnan. What is Karma? Karma is according to Bhagavad Gita, to surrender everything to Sri Krishna. Krishna will take care of it. Or if you cannot do that, then do as if you are doing it, but offer all the results to me. That is also a sure shot. So doing karma like that. Kriya is Ashtanga Yoga. So if we follow all the 8 limbs, try to follow. I am not saying we must master it, but at least we try to follow. So that is Kriya. And Bhakti is total surrender. I don't try to do anything. I just do it on behalf of you. Whoever that is, I just do it on behalf of you. Complete surrender, that is Bhakti. So if we combine all these, then only looking beyond Maya is possible. Otherwise we'll be entangled. Even great Matsyendranath, right? In Nath tradition, Matsyendranath, the greatest of all the Nath yogis, he used to do extreme penance. That means he was on the path of Kriya. He mastered Kriya, but he did not have Bhakti. So he lost his ways, and Gorakhnath had to come and rescue him. So there are many such examples. And even all the bhaktas that we talk about, right? Even Mirabai. Bhakti alone cannot bring you to the realization. You also need some kind of sadhana. You also need some kind of actions, karma. You also need some kind of gnana.
But isn't in Bhagavad Gita they say you can achieve through karma yoga, you can achieve through bhakti yoga. There are different kinds of paths, but all you can take each to realize.
Krishna doesn't say that. Krishna is just talking about various characteristics. See, karma yoga, gnana yoga, dhani yoga, that is our labels. Krishna is not saying follow karma yoga. Krishna is not saying follow bhakti yoga.
He's saying, is he not offering all of these as alternate paths?
No. Actually, you need to find the thread among all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. He is speaking, right? He is talking to Arjuna. 700 shlokas. Out of that, maybe 600 shlokas are by him. So he is talking. And we created these divisions. So we need to find that thread among all these 700 shlokas, what Krishna is talking about. He also talks about various methods, but at one place, I forgot about it. At one place, he clearly talks about this, that you need to have all this. I'll find the exact words.
Actually, they say all this is the best one, and that is the only way to fix of mind.
See, if you talk to a person who is in Kundalini Yoga, he will say Raj Yoga is the best, not Bhakti. If you are going to ask some Rishi, he would say Gnana Yoga is the best.
None of them will lead to God. They all stop after some time. All of them stop, but Bhakti will take you to God.
Ramakrishna Paramahans used to say this. Which one is best? Gnana or Bhakti? He used to say, Gnana is like sun. When the sun shines, then your sadhana is liquefied. It melts. It likes water. But when your bhakti is very intense, it kind of cools down water. It becomes ice. You want ice or you want water? You want gnana, melt the ice, or you want bhakti, make it into solid? What do you want to do? Which one is best? That's what he said. That means he is not saying one is great. He is saying both are equal. and at the same time he is suggesting you have to have both. And I am saying
How is he suggesting we have to have both?
you have to read his whole story. This is just an example about Gnan and Bhakti. Sure. I think we need to stop too. We'll talk about it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.